All right, Council Vice President.
Okay. Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills Town Council Agenda Meeting of July 2nd, 2019. Posting of notice. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting a meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 19th, 2018, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the North Star Ledger on December 27, 2018, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 19, 2018. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision, Public Access Channel 21 at 11 a.m. on Sundays and are also available for viewing on www.parsippany.net.
Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Present.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Carriffy is here. Go ahead, Mr. Carriffy. There he is. Also in attendance, we have Business Administrator Keith Kazmark, CFO Ann Cucci, Township Attorney Jim Lott, and Township Clerk Colette Madden, Council Vice President. We have a quorum. Upcoming meetings are July 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. That's the regular meeting. August 6th, 2019 at 7 p.m. That's the agenda meeting. Approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting of June 11th and the agenda meeting of June 25th.
Okay, Township presentations. Township Council, is there anything to report? Any?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing? Township Attorney, Mr. Lott.
I have items for closed session as noted on the agenda.
Keith Kazmark, Business Administrator.
Thank you, Council Vice President. There are three ordinances that the administration is asking the council to consider tonight for action. All three are with regard to regulations concerning our municipal parks, and they have been brought to us with the recommendation of both the Director of Parks and Forestry and the Director of Recreation.
Okay. Township Clerk.
No report at this time, Council Vice President. Thank you.
Engineering report.
Yes. So construction is substantially complete. The contractor is finishing sanitary sewer lateral repairs. Final paving will take place once the sanitary work has been completed. No council action required. Sandra Drive and Sandra Court reconstruction project. Construction is substantially complete. The contractor is finishing punch list items and will be done in 2 weeks. No council action required. 2019 road resurfacing, curb and sidewalk program. Curb and sidewalk work started and will continue for the next month. Road paving is scheduled to begin in the next week of July. No council action required. Old Bloomfield Avenue Phase 2 reconstruction project. Construction work is underway. We're working with the NJDOT on drainage improvements, and work should continue through the end of July. No council action required. Drainage issues. Engineering and the Public Works Department are actively investigating numerous drainage issues due to the continuous wet weather and very high groundwater levels throughout the township. DPW crews have excavated pipe and conducting subsurface investigations in several areas around Cherry Lane, and will continue to investigate the cause of the drainage issues in this area. Drainage improvements on Fox Hill Road have been completed, and improvements are being made in Mount Tabor and Haddonfield Drive. No council action required. Requests for proposals for professional design services. RFPs have been sent out for professional design services for Greenbank Road and the various street projects for James Street, Cottage Place, John Street, and Fairview Place. RFPs will continue. RFPs will also be sent out in the next month for the next phase of Mount Tabor Road projects, the repair of various culverts, and the desnagging of ditches and streams. No council action required. Endorsements of the NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant. We're in the process of preparing and submitting a grant application to the NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant Program. The application is for the improvements to Edwards Road from Vale Road to Old Bloomfield Avenue and includes curbing, drainage improvements, resurfacing of the roadway, and enhanced surface stripping and markings. Resolutions endorsing the applications will need to be adopted by the Township Council. Bids taken 6/18/19 Smith Baldwin House Phase 2 rehabilitation, 6/19/19 Powder Mill Pump Station upgrades. To be taken 7/18/19 Laboratory Improvement Project, 7/24/19 Lease of Public Property. C, quotation, proposal, and qualifications, none.
Public hearing.
I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Motion to open the public hearing by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
The floor is open to the public to speak on any matter they would like. Let me just make sure the mic's on, that would help.
Hello, good evening. My name is Bansri Shah. I actually am from Montville. I live at 98 Windsor Drive in Montville, New Jersey. I'm a member of the Montville Environmental Commission. I'm also a member of the Montville Green Team. And I'm here to represent my town to let you guys know where Montville is in terms of our efforts in the environmental area. So for the last 2 years, our commission has been pretty active in raising environmental awareness. We've held so many different events. We've had a screening of a plastic ocean as well as other screenings of environmental documentaries. Just this year we had 4 different events, and the last event in May was a pretty big zero waste environmental fair, which really was, and the goal of that was to educate people on how their single-use plastics really destroy the planet and the different alternatives that are available for them. Our town has also been distributing reusable grocery bags made from recycled polyester, actually, and these have been a huge hit. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I want you guys to be aware that Montville is a town that is becoming a lot more environmentally literate. The majority of the town does care about this issue. We care about our open spaces, we care about the environment, we care about our children. So the issue of plastic bag bans and the issue of just like environmental awareness and how legislative bodies help promote that is very important to us. And I sincerely believe that the people in my town would be very much on board with the ban. I know for a fact that the people in our township council, including the mayor, I work with them often, and I know that they take the environment very seriously, and they also very deeply care about this issue. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with who they are, but I know that this issue is important to them as well. So I just want you to know that as a town, we are a town that does care about the environment. So you will have our support in any plastic bag bans that you guys decide to enact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas Homiak, Lake Hiawatha. The plastic pollution phenomena overall is another form of an oil spill. It's serious enough for plastic production sales to be concerns of the planning board and the master plan. The ordinance must also be accompanied by organic links of municipal enforcements in conjunction with other ordinances: litter, anti-litter, property maintenance, and stormwater. Chapters 238, 354, and 357. And perhaps some of them could even use enforcements. Because it's been the lack of enforcement by the very entity, the authority, whether it be municipal, county, state, or federal, that is lacking in this total, once again, laissez-faire attitude. Don't let government interfere. And we all know what happens when that responsibility is negated. You get overrun with, in this case, plastic pollution. And that the plastic bag is only one of many. I have here a couple of pictures, and this is another thing that happens in a town all the time. There's an automobile accident, and the police show up, and then a wrecker shows up, and they leave the debris. We pay for the service to be cleaned up: the oil, the transmission fluid, and the plastic debris. I've talked on the phone with the police about it several times. You could still see this. It's even worse than it looks in the picture on the corner of Knoll and Vale Road. Somebody hit a pole, and they leave this there. And I guess the guy that lives there, he don't care, because I guess he's used to the plastic pollution. This is another one by the UPS that happened early in the spring. I actually called the police. They did respond. Me and the officer actually cleaned it up. I just wanted to show this picture here. This is a trash can that was moved on North Beverwick. These plastic bottles weren't buried in the snow. They were inside the container, the cage that contains the container. So the municipal workers moved the container to empty it and get it away, and then they left this on the sidewalk. It's unacceptable. I'm sure it happens in more than just Parsippany, but we do have supervisors, and they're being paid to make sure the job is done right. So we need these white-collar guys. I don't know whether they got a raise or not, but I don't think they're doing their job. Discipline should be always corrective in nature, but if things like this keep up on a regular basis, then something has to be done about it. So I don't know. I don't know what else I can complain about tonight, but I'll leave it at that, and to the next life.
Could you leave those photographs with the clerk, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Homiak.
Thanks, Nick. Sure. This is good. This is good.
Okay. I'm Pat De La Fuente. I live at 30 Deerfield Road in Lake Parsippany. I'm a member of the Township Environmental Advisory Committee, which supports this ordinance regarding plastic bags. Remember, the focus is on single-use plastic bags, which are just that. They're not reusable in most cases. They're definitely not recyclable, and they damage our health and environment. There was a time when we thought we could bring those bags back to a supermarket and they'd be recycled. We found now that simply isn't true. That does not happen. When I was here at the last meeting, the June 25th meeting, representatives from ShopRite expressed concern about how to implement this, how to go from plastic to reusable bags. And they were especially concerned about online shopping, when people would not arrive at the store with their own reusable bags. Well, I've been around a really long time. So shopping from home is nothing new to me. When I was a little girl in Brooklyn, where we had a large family, my mother was very busy. She would often phone the grocery store or another store, read them her list, and soon later, everything would arrive at our house, delivered by bike or car, and in paper bags, which we would use again to cover our school books or for other uses, sometimes to write on, also for garbage. There was no waste. So getting away from plastic is an old concept. It's been done before. And yet, banning the single-use plastic bags is the way of the future, as we could see as the testimony from the young girls who were here the last two meetings. And I was so impressed with the fact that they even displayed a reusable bag that ShopRite had come up with, and many of the other stores have done the same thing. As more and more stores shift to reusable option, I doubt that businesses would want single-use plastic bags with their logos to be the ones caught in tree branches, clogging our drains and despoiling our waterways. Not a positive image.
Thank you.
Bob Bars, 807 Park Road. I just have to
Mr. Bars,
agree with,
we just need you to face the council.
pardon?
Just need you to face the council. You can't speak to the audience.
I'm pointing out a gentleman
I know you can't
that
do
I'm
that
going
either.
to address. I have to agree with what he just said in regards to police cleanup. Okay. You know who I mean.
Yes.
For 50 years, I've seen that where they don't think it's part of their responsibility or it's below them to clean up after an accident. and it goes on. Every accident, there's glass and/or plastic on the road. And if it's swept, that's a big if it's swept to the edge, and then the next rainfall, it goes into the gutters and into the sewer systems. But the reason I'm here this evening is a little bird stopped by my house last week and said that the Henry Street property was going to become a Green Acre lot as of tonight. And if that's the case, I want to thank the council for doing that on behalf of the 15 or 18 people that surround that property. We really appreciate it. It's a vast improvement on what it was going to be. And I guess my only other thought or request is that if that goes through, you get the house removed as soon as possible that's on the property. Okay. And
Mr. Lott, you want to address that?
Yeah, without divulging what we've talked about in closed session, the township is moving forward with the acquisition of the property for open space purposes, and we've been in contact with both Newbridge and with Habitat for Humanity.
okay. So
It's not on tonight's agenda, is what he's telling you.
It's not on tonight's
you know,
agenda.
it was a bird, and he just dropped this little parachute, and I read it, and it didn't have a date on it, so I apologize for that. But if and when it happens, and if I'm not here, because if the bird doesn't, you know, send me another parachute, we thank you. And when it does happen, please get the house removed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep an eye out for the bird, too.
Troy Parikh, 791 Park Road. Like Bob said, we're in constant communication with Mr. DiPiero and Mrs. Grignani. So I want to thank everyone. I know I'm expecting the vote will happen soon, I guess, for the open space for Henry Street. So is there a time frame that you can share with us?
I actually spoke to the CFO before the meeting, and we need to go through some of the accounting. I think we should have an ordinance ready by early August.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I want to thank everyone, and hopefully that will go in our favor. And I'm thanking in behalf of all our neighbors. I think there are about 17, 18 families together surrounding the property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening again.
Hi.
Mara Jolly, 145 Patriots Road. I'm here, of course, in support of the plastic ban, but I also have something else I'd like to show you. I am taking part in the Smokey Bear Birthday Banner Challenge. He is 75 years old this year, and what this is something to get as many people in as many places celebrating Smokey being 75. What I would like, if possible, is to have the town council and the mayor pose with this banner. It would then be posted to Facebook if that's allowable.
Oh, that's
Very simple banner, just celebrating Smokey and his wonderful message of only you can prevent wildfires.
Yeah.
Thank you. May I? Oh, Mr. Martin, may I show the?
You sure can.
All about bears and birds tonight.
Good evening. Eric Densmore, Lake Hiawatha. As I said at the previous meeting, I am not against banning plastic bags. But, I'm sorry?
Hello? You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Hello? Can you hear me now? Oh, it's like the old Verizon commercial. Again, as I said at the meeting last week, I'm not opposed to a plastic ban. However, I don't think this ordinance, as it stands now, is going to have the effect that we're all hoping for. Parsippany is a large town, It's spread out from Route 46 over to Route 10. And unless the surrounding towns go along with us, I don't think this ban will even put a dent into the amount of plastics that are still coming into the town and will be coming into the system. And let me tell you why. On the Route 10 side of town, most people shop at either Wegmans or Stop and Shop, since obviously it's on their side of town. Stop and Shop is located in Morris Plains. The Wegmans is located in Hanover. To my knowledge, neither municipality has a plastic ban in effect as of right now. People are going to shop in those stores. Both of those stores still use plastic bans as their primary source of bagging. You're still going to have people bringing them home, putting them in that trash, and it's still going to clog up that machine that Mayor Soriano spoke of 4 weeks ago that deciphers the recyclables from the non-recyclables. Secondly, even on the Route 46 part of town, you have the Acme over in Boonton, which people shop at, and again, they're using plastic bags as their primary source of bagging, and I think just everyone in town shops at that Walmart at one time or another. Again, massive amounts of plastic bags coming in. I think that this ordinance accomplishes one thing, and one thing only, and that hurts the two grocery stores that are within our city limits, the ShopRite and the Food Town. And that is why I think we should hold off on this, at least until either the surrounding towns pass a similar ban. I know that the woman, the lady from Montville was here earlier. To my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, there is not a grocery store in Montville, correct? What,
Hey, Mr. Dinsmore, I apologize,
Yeah,
but we
sorry,
cannot
sorry.
address
Yeah.
the public. We can't go back and forth.
my apologies.
No, it's okay.
Okay. In any event, I think it's going to just economically hurt the two grocery stores that are within our town limits and not accomplish what we hope it to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ken Dolsky, 21 Winfield Drive. I wasn't going to talk about the plastic situation, but I do need to first address the comments that you just heard. Basically, the proposal that you just heard is when you have a problem, don't do anything and hope that somebody else does something that makes it easier for you to solve it. Okay, progress has to start someplace, and the fact that whether we have 2 stores, 10 stores, or whatever, the number of plastic bags those stores give out will no longer be in the flow. And so it will make a difference, and it will hopefully influence other towns to do the same. So I certainly encourage the town council to continue with the same approach that you've had in the past, and then let's make this happen. The other question I wanted to raise, which has nothing to do with plastic, is basically to ask where we stand with affordable housing. I understand that we've basically come to an agreement or a settlement with the court. There's a number in the 800 plus range for a number of units. I assume the town is working on a plan as to where those units are going to be. And as an interested citizen, I would like to understand where that is, when the plan is going to come out, or we could be able to see it, or we could be able to comment on it. What's the process from here with affordable housing?
You want to?
So that plan's been out for months. It's been approved by council, and it received judicial approval about 2 weeks ago. There was a presentation made in open public session, I want to say maybe 2 months ago, where I think all of the sites were reviewed in public session. We have a copy of the plan. It's available to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
I believe that, Colette, correct me if I'm wrong, when we had that PowerPoint presentation by Ed Sinakis, it was recorded on CD, correct?
Right, you
We
can
have
see
it
it
on
there.
CD, and I believe we also have the plan as
So
well.
if
We
you
actually have
missed
a
it,
copy. So
you
if you want to
can-
open it, you can
Right.
you can open
You
it.
can open it and get a CD of that presentation.
Sure.
Or you can watch the video.
Or you can watch the video, right.
Or you can watch the video.
Right. But we certainly have copies of the plan, so.
Hello? Hello? Which one's better? This one?
Yes.
Michelle Gaynor, 2 Elf Court, Parsippany. I was not going to speak about plastic, but I will address it just for a minute. We have been in contact with Stop and Shop. Stop and Shop in Morris Plains is definitely in favor of it. So I don't know why people are saying there are stores and this is not going to work and this is going to be a hardship. I've given the council information regarding different states and towns in different states where this has worked, where the plastic has been, they have quantified it, it has been reduced. It eliminates the plastic from storm drains, it clogs up the machines, as has been said. This is not just health and safety, it's also money, less money that will be spent on cleanup and flooding, which it also causes flooding when it gets into our storm drains. And just so you know, Garfield is on their second reading of their plastic ordinance. They're a town of 30,000. Maplewood passed their ordinance, enacted it within 3 months. Businesses, if they claim hardship or they can't comply within those 3 months, they can ask for an extension. So if we work with these businesses, this can be done. It's being done all over the state and all over the country and all over the world. So that's what I'm going to say about that. A week ago, I sent an email to council members about a concern that came up to my organization about 5G technology. Companies such as Verizon, Sprint are going into towns. 4G is not enough now. They want 5G. When they put 5G in towns, they have to blanket neighborhoods. They have to put it on almost every pole everywhere. So not only is it has a higher frequency, but it has like a shorter distance, so that's why they have to blanket towns. There are documents of health concerns regarding this, and I would just like to hand this to the council so they can review it before we get petitioned to have these all over our neighborhoods.
Council Vice President, I'm familiar with the issue. I actually spoke to the township planner about this. There are a series of FCC orders that give a lot of telecom carriers the right to access municipal right-of-way for 5G purposes. But the township does have some authority to regulate the location of some of the antennas. So I'm going to be speaking again to the township planner about what we can do locally here.
And also, I believe there is an ordinance that we cannot and we do not put any of these antennae in neighborhoods. So that's something I think that you can be assured will not happen.
Can it be that restricted?
Probably not under the FCC order.
Excuse me, thank you.
In regard, excuse me, and Ms. Gaynor, in regard to the plastic bags, when you first came before us, I asked you several questions, and one of them was, how is this going to be monitored? I understand that we have the health department that is going to be assisting. How are the store owners going to be notified? Are they going to be getting a letter? Is someone going to be knocking on their doors? I've been to several small family-owned businesses, and they were quite surprised to hear what was going to be approved.
Well,
or is
originally,
proposed.
sorry, we spoke about going to the Chamber of Commerce and working with them, and we haven't moved forward. I'm not a member of the advisory council, the Environmental Advisory Council. I'm here to help. So if we work with the Chamber of Commerce, if we send a copy of the ordinance with information to every store owner working through the Chamber of Commerce, towns have done it, and I have contact with other towns throughout the state that have done it, so I can get the information out. I can work with our town to get the information out, as other towns have done. It's been done.
Well, the town is going to include it in the ordinance as a town. They're going to do some education throughout the town as well for the public, and I suppose for the retailers.
I have very good information from Maplewood, what Maplewood is doing to notify their store owners and other towns that we can use.
I also asked Councilwoman McCarthy that when the committee is formed, whenever you decide to form the committee, or after the ordinance is approved, that you include some small business owners
Of
so
course.
that they are well aware of what's going on. And I also told Ms. McCarthy last week that I went into an establishment and they had a corporate name change, and they had just ordered and delivered all of the new bags that were going to be used. So hopefully they will get, I mentioned it to them, and hopefully they will be able to get new bags within a timely manner.
I mean, if like a hardship, I think we've talked about if it's a hardship and they need to address it. We
Yeah, I
talked
mean, you know,
about
all those
revisiting.
details have to be worked
Right.
out as well, and we'll work with the Environmental Advisory Committee to make sure that, you know, we address that along with the town, who's going to have information on the website. You know, we're going to do an outreach with ShopRite, I believe. I spoke with Dara. So, you know, I mean, we're going to get prepared for this as well.
I did
Thank
get
you.
phone calls from two senior citizens. One is a woman who lives alone, and she can't carry the 33-gallon garbage bags out for garbage every week. She ties up 3 or 4 or 5 little single-use bags to put her garbage out in, because that's all she can carry. And another one called me up and says, I use those little bags for pooper scooper because I have to pick up after my dog, and that's what I use. She said, now what I'm supposed to go out and buy plastic bags now?
Bread bags. I mean, I've got a closet full of bags from other things that you could
All right.
use.
I'm just
I know.
mentioning that, you know, the other people have other concerns.
Okay, thank
My
you,
concern is, if we ever try to ban those 33-gallon garbage bags that most of us put our garbage in twice a week, that's going to be a problem.
Well, let's hope we have some new technology by then. See, okay.
Good evening. Good evening. Samin Desai, 15 Concord Way, Morris Plains, which is actually Parsippany. I represent SEVA, which is a non-profit organization. And here I want to be part of the solution here. So we have 60 youth volunteers that support this program and the families that support this program. So on behalf of them, maybe we can work out something where we can be part of the solution as creating awareness campaigns or taking part in the awareness campaigns. We have been working individually with the shop owners and treks to see how we can create bins, place them, create awareness programs, have the bins taken care of by collection centers. So have the supply chain ready to make sure that we can reduce that plastic on the streets. I think it's a valid point that the gentleman raised and the lady is raising as well in ability to control them. We want to be part of the solution, and I think we can do it. And we have us, our organization, and at least 60 households supporting that. So just wanted to voice that and be part of the solution.
Okay, can you give your information to the clerk and also?
You just sign in with, give your name, address, and email and phone number, and we'll make sure we reach out to you.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sir, don't forget to sign in. Yeah. That's fine, whatever you'd like.
So I see no one else come forward?
I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going into ordinances under introduction. Number 1, if you could just review that. I'll go right into number 2. An ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 290-9 related to restrooms located in parks and public facilities. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on July 2nd, 2019, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on July 16th at 7 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached, at the municipal building in the said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution by?
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Ordinance 2019:37, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 290-15 related to hours of operation for parks, recreation areas, and public lands. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on July 2nd, 2019, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on July 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. prevailing time or soon thereafter, as a matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Okay, a motion passes. Okay, so under second reading, if you guys can just review those very quickly. Any questions? Okay, seeing no questions by the council members, non-consent, there are no resolutions under the consent agenda. If you can, please take a couple minutes to review those very quickly. If we have any questions, please, from the council.
Resolution number 1 for the Best Friends Animal Society grant. How much is that grant?
10,000.
10,000, and that goes to the animal control?
Yes.
To, is there
For
specific?
specifically for the trap neuter release.
So that $10,000 would be used
Mhm.
toward that program?
Yes.
Okay. And the other one was the number 6, the racket sports specialties. You know, what is that about?
So-
What are we doing with that?
So we went out to bid, as we have traditionally done, and there is a tennis outfit that rents the space in the community center in the tennis area. So this would be awarding the new bid for the new term of the contract.
Oh, okay.
Is this a new company that that we are going to be using this year?
No, but what we did, no, the answer to your question is no, but we did do an analysis with Dan Cassis of the current rent that we were receiving, and he said it was at market rate. That's an important point.
And is this for a year's contract?
Yes.
I think it's 2.
2 years?
Mhm.
Is that what we usually do?
Yes.
And what is the rent going to be?
19,500.
Is that for the month or for a year?
That's a great question. I'll have to check.
It's a month.
Month.
It's a month?
Mhm.
Okay, is there any other questions?
Okay, seeing,
I'd like to, 1 second.
yeah, take your time.
Number 5, the money for ADVID, Community Services. I see that Terry is here. And you don't have to get up, Terry. I just want to say that it is always a pleasure to see you and to help you with the homes that you are providing for the handicapped. Thank you.
Yes, it's a tremendous pleasure for us also. We've enjoyed a wonderful working relationship, and we appreciate the additional funding for this latest group home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Council
Okay.
Vice President, on the Hanover contract, they will be voting on that contract on July 11th, the township. So we'll be right in line by the end of the month. We'll have the shared services agreed upon.
Okay. All right.
Okay, since no other questions, now we're going to move on. No applications. The approval of payroll and bills list. CFO Nkuchi recommends authorization for payment. They authorize payment of the 7/12/19 regular and miscellaneous payroll estimated at $1.7 million each. Payment of bills for voucher list of 6/21 to 6/27 totaling $1,186,003.99. So motion to approve the authorization for payment.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. At this time, Ms. Peterson?
Before we go into closed session, I just was waiting for a follow-up. I'd never heard of it. Mrs. McCarthy, last week when the SharpRite woman was here, you had promised to meet with her and see if there was a solution to her problem with the internet buyers. Did you ever meet with her, resolve anything?
Yeah, we spoke today. We had about a 20-minute, 25-minute conversation. And no, we came to no resolution about it. There were some ideas. She's going to check into some more information about the ShopRites in the area, including some of those in Jersey City and Hoboken who have, both cities, both towns have moved forward with the ban.
Yeah, Jersey City has moved forward with the ban.
Yeah, so, and there's several other, as you know, as Michelle pointed out, so, yeah. So we're gonna continue to talk about it and also help her with some training and education.
Okay, thank you.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas Township Council wishes to discuss Carriffy litigation status update and contract negotiations, Fire District 1, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, the public be excluded from this meeting. Motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero?
Will any action be taken at the end of this closed session?
No
meeting?
action. I was going to announce that, but no action will be taken.
Okay. I vote yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we're going to adjourn into closed session. No action will be taken. We'll reconvene shortly. Thank you.
Hi, Frey.
All right, we're on the record.
Okay, motion to reopen the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion to, now we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Okay,
Have a
the
good
meeting's
night.
closed. Have a good night.
Good night. Good night.